Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, friends. You know, I didn't think I'd be talking about a show spun off from the Batman movie, which I thought was reasonably good. It got off to a good start and had a horrible ending. And I really didn't think we'd be talking about it after just one episode when it stars Colin Farrell under 50 pounds of makeup as the Penguin. Yet here we are. So welcome to the very first Nerdrotic is Toxic Reviews. If you want to know more about that, wait till later in the video. But first, let's get to the Penguin. Now, I've seen all the trailers and I was even at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, and after watching all of that, I didn't think it looked terrible, but I wasn't overwhelmed either. It looked very competent and average. Now, to be fair to Colin Farrell, he was one of the best things in the Batman, but after this show was announced, it left a lot of people asking, rightly so, and this can be applied to almost everything coming out from Hollywood these days. Is this something we really need? And to my pleasant surprise, at least in this case, after one episode, the answer's yes. And not to worry, this will be spoiler-free. The Penguin picks up just days after the end of the Batman, which unfortunately reminded me that they turned the Riddler into an incel with 500 followers on some social media network, but was able to finance blowing up the seawall at Gotham. That combined with the murder of Carmine Falcone, who is now played by Mark Strong in a If You Blink You'll Miss It scene. Downtown Gotham has descended into chaos with gang warfare, a drug shortage, and a crime family power vacuum. And this provides an opportunity for the disrespected and underestimated Penguin, who they don't call the Penguin or Oswald Cobblepot. They just call him Oscobb. And this is essentially his origin story, and I can't sell this one short. Colin Farrell is brilliant in this. It's hard to believe it's him under all of that makeup, and shout out to the makeup department. That is some of the best I've ever seen. And I have to agree with my good friend Ryan Kinnell, who was famous for his positive Batman review. He liked it as well, and he said he still feels kind of bad for all the fat, ugly, crippled people out there who had Colin Farrell take the only role made for them, but he knocks it out of the park.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Even after one episode, it's the kind of performance I think Colin Farrell should probably win awards for if I cared about him, which I don't. And I liked him in the Batman, but I didn't know I would want to watch an entire season of this, but now I do. The Penguin is dark, funny, introspective, and you get more character development in the first 15 minutes than you do in the entirety of any Marvel D+ show, where they can't make their heroes as likable as this villain. This brings us to the second most important character in the Penguin, Gotham. I thought they did it pretty well in the Batman, and that carries over here. Now, this is a very grounded Gotham from the very grounded The Batman, something we'll get into a little bit later. Now, it tries to play out like a caricature of a modern American city run by a single party, or maybe a futuristic version, but unfortunately, if you live in a modern American city, it's the world outside your window. And if you live outside of our country, our American cities have descended into chaos, and yes, we are in a world that needs a Batman, a Shadow, a Punisher, and a Daredevil. Anyway, while Colin Farrell is great, I'm not going to say he carries this show because the writing is brilliant and so are the rest of the cast. There's Victor Aguilera, who Penguin becomes a mentor for after meeting under extenuating circumstances. And then there's Sophia Falcone, daughter of Carmine Falcone, who was just released from Arkham and plays a proper restrained psycho. But the hook for me was Clancy Brown playing Salvatore Maroni. We also get to meet Oz's mom, and it's always great to see a healthy mother and son relationship with one of the best mother-to-son pep talks I've seen in a while. Again, before I get too excited or anybody else does, it's just one episode, but the writing is top-notch, the acting is brilliant, and there's music by Michael Giacchino. And it was a pleasant surprise amidst the sea of crap we've just gotten this week. But as my good friend Ryan Kinnell, big fan of the Batman, gave it an 8 out of 10, said, that started out pretty good too, so we'll have to see. But this is why I still watch so much stuff, because A, I'm a fan, and at least these days, occasionally you find a treasure in the trash. Come to think of it, and I'm not saying it's as good as this film, but I felt the same way about The Joker, and I loved it. Unfortunately, I'm saying the same question about its sequel. Now, I, like many others, have kind of over the grounded Batman. I would much more like to see something adapted in live action like the animated series, because to this day, we've never seen anything as close as that show was to the Batman in the comics. And believe me, I am completely over all the peripheral Batman shows. Gotham Knights, Batwoman, Birds of Prey, just to name a few. But if the Penguin plays out with the same quality as episode 1, that can change my mind, and it would also prove that Batman belongs on TV. The fact that no one's done a Batman show since the 60s and a proper Batman show at all is insane to me. And instead of having two Batmans in the theaters, because we know we're getting one with James Gunn, I would just take Robert Pattinson or recast him and make the Batman 2 into a series. But time will tell. If the Penguin stays good, I'll probably do a review on the main channel. If it turns into a dumpster fire, I'll probably do a review on the main channel. Now, before we go, it's time to explain why this is called Nerdrotic Reviews, and I'm not going to do this very much, but it came to my attention a couple of years ago from a lot of emails that when you search the name Nerdrotic on YouTube, one of the top 5 results, sometimes number 2, a lot of times number 2, it says Nerdrotic is toxic. The funniest part of this story is when I finally brought it up to my partner manager in one of our meetings. He did a search in his incognito tab and it came up the second result. For a couple of years or so, there's been the idea rolling around in my head to do reviews on older movies, but I didn't have a title. Not realizing there's been one in front of us the entire time. Why not take advantage of that automated search result and lean into the meme? Welcome to Nerdrotic is Toxic Reviews.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.